Hi everyone. Um, you know, uh, People always want to know how to accomplish balance in their lives, and I wanted to examine that idea this week in a small way, hopefully referring a little bit to the parsha of the week. Now, experience is a form of learning. It's informal by nature, and there's no correct conclusions to an experience. I mean, let's say a person's on the Staten Island ferry, right? They see someone not give up their seat for an older person. So, what's the lesson? The guy's a bad guy, maybe, that he's very tired, and that there are other people on the ferry and he'd rather that they got up than him, Is the lesson only to look after yourself? Or sometimes to put yourself first where necessary? It depends. And that's the hallmark of experience, right? The lesson, it always depends. It's not objective in that way. Now, formal learning, of course, is different. Philosophy, logic, etc. There are math, science, there are outcomes. Truths that you need to be in line with. I mean, imagine running a business, right? Where guy brings 2 t-shirts for $2 each to the cash register, and you charge him $5. So the guy says, "You're overcharging me. Well, what are you doing?" So no, I'm not overcharging you. The way I do math, 2 + 2 = 5. So, what do you do with that? How do you argue with that? But that's exactly how we're supposed to understand our experience. It's up to you, the way you see things. It's based on your upbringing. It's your perspective. And then there's formal learning, which is rules and reality. And when the Jewish people left Egypt, they experienced incredible miracles and were chosen for the mission of fixing the whole world. They journeyed into the desert. Now, fixing the whole world means that they should lead exemplary lives, maximally enlightened, wise, ecstatic lives, happy lives, the deepest possible types of pleasure, and teach the rest of the world, each and every person, how to do that for themselves. That balance needs take into account each individual's needs and being. I mean, I can't be happy the way you're happy, but also the reality. I mean, I can't say, for me, killing defenseless children makes me happy, right? So leave me alone. There has to be some kind of adherence to objective realities. But you can't crush a person's individuality under a burden of truth either. So you see, we need a balance of individuality and truth, or to say it a different way maybe, we each have an individual way of relating to truth, never denying truth, but also never encroaching on one's independence, one's individuality, and the voice of one's experience about how to inculcate truth into one's life. And that's why we all try and find ourselves. We try and we talk about finding our own truths, but at the same time we recognize that there are things that are objectively, you can't do that, right? But a person who lives just only by that, it feels very robotic. Like, where's your individuality? Where's who you are as a person? How do we get that balance, right? It happens in the workplace too. There's me, but I don't want to just live for the weekends. I'm being like a robot at work, but it's what I want to do. Like, how do I combine these two in a way that works for me, and I walk through life balanced? So Moses goes up the mountain, right? This week's parasha, gets the 10 Commandments. He comes down the mountain a day later than the people expected him, and he sees the Jewish people worshipping the golden calf. He throws down the tablets, and the chaos of idol worship in the camp dies down. One tribe, the tribe of Levi, did not participate in this idol worship. And they're chosen to become the high priests of the Jewish people, not just for them, right? With many different roles, in the temple, right? But not just for them, but for all time. Now, there's a lot of depth in this story, so let's just begin by asking a couple of questions. Number 1, why did the Jews worship the calf? Number 2, he threw down the tablets. Why did he throw down the tablets? Number 3, why did the Levites not worship the golden calf? And why were they chosen for leadership afterwards, forevermore? I mean, I understand if a generation of Levites was singled out and rewarded, but then why forevermore? Now, the Jews, here's the point, right? The Jews worshiped the golden calf because they surrendered their philosophy to their experience. Moses left and he didn't come back. They were alone, okay? They thought he was supposed to be back. They assumed he's dead. He's not back. He hadn't failed them on anything before. And they're kind of left alone. They turned to their experiences, meaning, like, what are we going to do now? Not to their philosophy. There's a God. We're here to build a better world. Even if Moses is not here, we have to keep on going. The experience of the loss of their leader, their inspiration, led them to drop their philosophy, i.e. his teachings. We need a new leader, a new God. Boom, let's worship a golden calf. And why did the Levites not worship? Well, because they did the opposite. They said, well, does the loss of the man who led us to truth mean that there is no truth? Or that we need a new truth? Absolutely not, right? So they accepted the experience, but they combined it with their philosophy, and they came out healthy. You see, the Levites were the scholars of the nation of Israel, people who spent enough time figuring out life to be able to apply enlightened thinking to their experience. And they're chosen to be the exemplars of Jewish living forevermore because the value of combining experience with philosophy or truth was their secret. They had the tools, they'd succeeded, they'd passed those skills on within their families, hence, leadership forevermore. The Jewish people came to America, the Jewish people came to England. If you ask one of these great-great-grandparents who came to these countries, did they believe in God? Sure. Did they keep Shabbat? 100%. Why did you stop? What was your philosophical question? What was it? That wasn't what happened. I needed a job. I couldn't work. I couldn't get a job. I didn't work on Saturdays. I had to drop it. It was experience knocking out their philosophy. They didn't stop believing in what they believed in. They just couldn't figure it out. And then their kids grew up not doing anything, and their kids grew up not doing anything. All of a sudden, Jewish people are like they have no connection to where they come from, or less of a connection. Less of a connection to where they come from. You see, we need this lesson. The people need to try to be Levites, to understand life. Right? It's not just experience it, but we also need to experience life with truth. And if I'm honest, that's kind of what we're trying to do at Justify. Right? We want to give people experiences that help them not just know philosophically that the world needs changing. Right? Click like on a couple of Facebook videos of how someone else did something amazing in the world. Right? But we want people to experience it. So they change forever. So they come back world changers. You see, truth is, some people, when they come back from a trip like ours, or, they just go back to posting pics on Facebook and showing up to university or work, pausing once or twice a week or month to sigh and think about what it felt like when they were really engaged in a meaningful experience. But it doesn't have to be like that, right? Philosophy need not take over real-world experience, but real-world experience should not be allowed to take over philosophy. And we could all do with learning from the Levites. Live up to your philosophy, even if it means being different to everybody else, right? And live a life that combines experience with philosophy, because that's really the essence of what it means to be a leader, and that's really the essence of what it means to be a Jew. So Shabbat Shalom from Jerusalem. This is Jamie Cowland from justify.org. If you want to come with us this summer, or you have a friend who wants to come with us this summer, check out the website, www.justify.org. Our dates are there. Trips are filling up, thank goodness. We're very excited to see you in Thailand.